Well, there's a little duty we have to do every weekend with the playing of that music, and that's go out to the left coast and check in with Michael Snyder, who's going to tell us all about the latest motion picture releases, which must be exciting, Michael.
Oh man, I only wish it was an exciting weekend at the theater. In fact, my favorite things, at least one of them, can be watched in your home as well as on the big screen. So let's get to that stuff. Coming right after the very long, dark, tedious, and only occasionally cool Batman versus Superman, we have the noisy, colorful, and extremely sloppy movie Suicide Squad, which is the next stab at Warner Brothers and DC Comics building an interlocked DC Comics cinematic universe as sprawling and successful as Marvel's. They brought Spider-Man into the mix on the Marvel side. So what's DC going to do? Well, they're going to pull out the villains and turn them into a black ops unit. Listen, I was not impressed with this. The original comic book version of Suicide Squad, better known in some quarters as Task Force X, debuted back in 1959 in a DC tryout comic called The Brave and the Bold. The team was science-based and straight-laced, a military unit of 4, led by the noble Colonel Rick Flag, and it included his girlfriend Karen, and they fought like giant Godzilla-like creatures from outer space or from the depths of the ocean. It wasn't a big hit, and eventually it was a canceled book. But years later, someone at DC got the idea to reboot the concept and make the team a government-sanctioned Black Ops espionage unit made up of various DC supervillains. And that's what we have here, as you get traditional Batman foes, including Deadshot the Assassin, Killer Croc the scaly mutant gangster, and most significantly, Harley Quinn, the Joker's Moll, plus a few others, including the goofy Captain Boomerang from the Flash's Rogues Gallery. And you get them, and they're recruited out of prison by a government hard-ass named Amanda Waller to do her bidding or else. And then there's a promise of shortened sentences and what have you. But this isn't an espionage movie. You have the sorceress, unstable, and other-dimensional enchantress thrown into the mix. And she has possessed a weak and meek but attractive archaeologist, and squad leader Rick Flag, of course, has a relationship with her. That's a little nod to the original Suicide Squad Flag there. So he's the lover of the human half, and then there's the wild card of the Joker, who is trying to free his girlfriend, Harley Quinn, from the clutches of Waller and the group. Anyway, it's a mess. Written and directed by David Ayer, who fared much better with the war movie Fury and the gritty LA cop movie The End of Watch. Maybe he's more suited to realer circumstances than relentless meta-human superpowered action and interaction, snarky comedy, and half-ass melodrama. Maybe there was studio meddling. I think there was. There were bad reviews for Batman versus Superman, and perhaps the corporation, who has so much riding on this intertwined series of DC films, got in there. I know there were reshoots and re-edits. Look, I like a little coherence in my inexplicable chaos. The third act of this film was especially screwed up. The motivations of the big bad and certain squad members not clear. I mean, I had problems with the setup, the execution, and a few of the executions, if you know what I mean. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, fantastic. Jared Leto as a new iteration of the Joker, not bad. Will Smith plays the Deadshot character, and he's okay for what it is. And Viola Davis plays Waller, but man, what a waste of talent and money. Suicide Squad killed 2 hours of my life. It wasn't suicide, it was homicide. Now for something I can endorse wholeheartedly, I was excited to learn of a new animated movie based on French author and aviator Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's beloved 1943 novella, The Little Prince. For the uninitiated, it's the tale of a pilot who crashes his plane in the Sahara Desert, where he meets a young boy who says he comes from a planetoid in the heavens and has fallen to Earth and wants to go back to his home planet amid the stars to nurture a rose that will die without his ministrations. Very simple, a lovely fable. And, there have been other versions of it. In 1974, not particularly memorable live action version directed by Stanley Donen, best known for Singing in the Rain and Charade and other, classics. There was a Little Prince cartoon done in 79 by the claymation guy Will Vinton. There have been other iterations, but this is the first fully animated, full-length feature, and I really loved it. It just worked for me, and it's not the traditional simple story that we know from the past. In literary form, you have a very basic tale of this guy who encounters this kid, and there's a metaphorical message. There's some lovely line drawings in the original book, but there's great beauty in the simplicity. And the message is, what is most essential in life is invisible to the eye. And there are other themes in this thing, but ultimately, what we have here is the animator Mark Osborne, who did Kung Fu Panda, my favorite of the DreamWorks movies, creating a computer-animated framing story where a bright little girl and her mom, who's a buttoned-up single mother, move into a new home in a modern, bland suburb with the idea of getting her kid into the best school in the area, and she's going to have to be very disciplined and prepare over the course of the summer. And the kid is on track until she meets this elderly aviator living in the house next door. And the old guy tells the girl about his encounter with this strange visitor from beyond and shows her a journal depicting the adventure. And that's where the source material comes to life with stop motion technique as opposed to the CGI computer animation. It beautifully breathes life into the original drawings from the book and gives you a really lovely dichotomy between the book and the movie by having the two different styles. And the girl's world and the little prince's world interact. I mean, people are going to call additions to the movie as heresy, but it's done so respectfully and artfully, and it stays true to the book's philosophical core, even when the script throws the girl into an investigation of the little prince's existence beyond what we know from the book. I totally loved it, I'll be honest with you. Lovely, thoughtful, sincere, and it deserves an audience here in the States. And it actually has been on the shelf in America for almost a year. Paramount decided not to release it after a couple of aborted attempts, even though it came out overseas and earned over $100 million in its first month or so. So they sold the rights to Netflix. So you can watch The Little Prince on Netflix starting today, or you can go to a theater and experience it on the big screen. The voice actors are pretty wonderful all across the board. Jeff Bridges is the aviator. Paul Rudd is involved, James Franco, Rachel McAdams, Marion Cotillard, Albert Brooks, Ricky Gervais, Benicio del Toro, Paul Giamatti. Everyone brings their A game to the voice work, and I really enjoyed The Little Prince big time. Let's wrap things up with Little Men, a coming-of-age movie that I also liked very much, although, The Little Prince is The Little Prince. Ira Sachs directed and co-wrote this. It's a family drama wherein a couple of newly minted best friends have their relationship thrown asunder by the battle between their parents over a dress shop lease in Brooklyn. It's contemporary. It's set in modern New York City, and the situation is as follows. This 13-year-old kid's grandfather dies, and so his family moves from Manhattan back to the dad's old Brooklyn home, which is more spacious. And the kid meets another kid whose mom runs the store downstairs and had a sweetheart lease from the grandfather. Soon, the mom and dad, who have moved in with their son, decide they need more money. They want to up the rent, and this causes a terrible battle and throws the relationship with the boys in asunder. Greg Kinnear and Jennifer Ale play the mom and dad. Paulina Garcia, who I've never seen, is the mother of the boy, the dressmaker, who's a Chilean. And everybody's very good in this thing, and it's kind of heartfelt. And the boys' relationship rings very true. It's sweet, it's smart, it's caring, it's got a lot of genuine emotion. The sort of things that are missing, for instance, from Suicide Squad. So Little Men really pleased me. I give it a big thumbs up and say yay to that one. You may wonder why I haven't reviewed Nine Lives, which is a movie apparently that was not screened for the critics because it sucked so badly. That has to be the answer. With a concept like this, though, how could it suck? Kevin Spacey is a billionaire who turns into a cat, and then he has to deal with his family in cat form. He's in cat form. Oh, my God. I'm kind of grateful that I didn't see it. And other than that, I guess it's just catching up with you on what you've been watching.
I haven't been watching anything, actually. I mean, anything new, But I'm still enjoying The Hunt, which is the Richard Attenborough series about animals eating other animals. And it's probably the best thing Attenborough's ever done, and he's done some great stuff. Yeah.
Well, for those people who enjoy The Night Of, I've already mentioned the fact that they should look back to the British version that launched the idea, Criminal Justice, which came out, I think, in 2008. You can see Criminal Justice first and second seasons, and it's an anthology series, at least as set up.
It's on Hulu.
And you can catch it on Hulu. And I recommend it. The second season is really, really good, too.
It's completely different from the first season, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's about a woman who was accused of killing her husband. And the husband's played by Matthew McFadden, who later went on to star in Ripper Street, which is a show I like.
Yeah, and a lot of other stuff, too, like, what was that, Death at a Funeral.
Yes, and you know who else is in the second season? Eddie Marsan, best known on these shores as Terry in Ray Donovan, the brother with palsy. Totally different, a wonderful actor. Everything he does is golden. And he's also in the second series of Criminal Justice. Hulu's out there. Netflix is there if you want to watch The Little Prince. We have a lot of different platforms that are available to see some good stuff.
Yeah, I did watch, what was the film you reviewed last week? Tallulah?
Tallulah, yes. Yeah. What did you think?
Okay. Not great, but okay, Plus, you watch it at home, and it's on Netflix, and it's nothing ventured, nothing gained,
Exactly. I thought it was good. I thought the performances really carried it. I thought that Allison Janney and Ellen Page.
Especially Allison Janney. I mean, she's just a complete treasure,
She is. She's great. She's fantastic. So we say yay to The Little Prince, yay to Little Men, boo to Suicide Squad, and I'm very sorry, Barry Sonnenfeld. Your career seems to be going in the toilet when you can't even let me see your cat movie.
Yeah, well, also, I was going to go see Suicide Squad this week, and we bought tickets, but we're turning them in.
Oh, ouch. Anyway, you can check me out on Twitter at Culture Blaster, at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page on Facebook, and we'll be back next week with more.
Thank you, Michael.
You bet.
And there's more GABNet coming right up.